Year after year, Apple holds an event. Tim Cook and a bunch of other Apple employees walk out on stage in front of the press and essentially the entire world to show what they've been working on for a year longer. As we all sit impatiently waiting, boom, the new iPhone. Pre-orders start a few days later, we all get our phones, and our old ones are suddenly, well, forgotten about, as if they never existed. Let's take a look back at one of Apple's older devices to see if all that work they put in still holds up years later.
So the question kind of popped up in my head the other day. If I was to go back to an older iPhone, would it still perform pretty well in 2020? So this is the iPhone 7. And the goal is to pretty much see, could I still use this as a daily driver in 2020?
So let's talk about design, because it's a major feature, right?
I personally think that the iPhone 7 is really nicely designed. It's not too big, it's not too small, but it's really comfortable. It has these rounded corners on the side, which make the phone feel really nice in the hand. Though it can be a little slippery at times. I've literally put this phone on the table and watched it just slide down. So, I mean, if you're a person like me and you don't really like cases, then I would definitely recommend that you either A, get a D-brand skin. They really look really nice. They have a bunch of different textures and colors and patterns that you can put on your phone to really make it stand out, especially if you happen to get stuck with the rose gold color and it's not really your thing. At least you could cover it up, mostly.
For this iPhone to be 4 years old, this thing still runs smooth. Apps open quickly, they close out quickly. I don't really have any freezing or too many bugs. I'm really having a decent experience with this phone despite its age.
And I'm running iOS 14, which is the public beta. I can leave a link down below in the description if you guys want to try it out.
And even with the beta, it's a champ. Touch ID? Oh, how I've missed Touch ID.
And let me tell you, Touch ID, going back to it, has been amazing, especially with the whole COVID-19 thing going on right now. I hate having to pull down my face mask in public and get the weird stare from everybody like, what are you doing? Because my iPhone wants to stare at my face before letting me put a passcode in. So I must say, I've been using this for a couple of days now, and it's not as bad as you'd think it would be. Considering the fact that it's 4 years old, came out in 2016, it really shows that Apple really puts a lot of thought and effort into the CPUs that they put into this phone.
So nowadays, most modern smartphones have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just a lot of different camera lenses on the back, and they all have different focal lengths and things like that. So going back to a phone from 2016 with its one camera lens, you can kind of feel like, oh, this isn't gonna have a good camera experience at all. But I have to say, this thing took some decent pictures.
So with the iPhone 7, what you're gonna notice is exposure. And this is Apple's first iPhone with the HDR feature. It tends to really either underexpose or overexpose, as you can see here with this Xbox controller. It's a little dark. And if you look here, my hand is a little lighter than it actually should be. Most of the time I have to drag the exposure bar down, and then you end up with photos like these where they're okay. You can definitely share them. And every once in a while, it's a little too dark. But other than that, you could definitely still use this as a camera phone today and post right to Instagram.
So I think it's hilarious that in 2020, when we see a phone with one camera lens, we're kind of like, is this all? Where's the wide angle? Where's the telephoto lens? We've grown so accustomed to having 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 lenses. And yes, that does exist on a smartphone, that you don't necessarily think a one lens smartphone can actually take good photos. And it still can.
Now, the iPhone 7 was the first iPhone to not have a headphone jack, which was definitely weird.
So not having a headphone jack on the iPhone 7 wasn't a big deal to me, mainly because I use Bluetooth headphones anyway. But for those of you that were kind of like, okay, well, I don't have Bluetooth headphones, what am I gonna do? Apple then announced AirPods right after. Would I switch back to an iPhone 7 in 2020? Even though I do like this iPhone 7 in all of its entirety, with all the features that Apple threw in that year, I wouldn't switch back unless I necessarily had to. But I wanna know, would you switch to an iPhone 7 in 2020? Let me know down below why or why not. And would you stick with the rose gold color? Because for me, this is just too pink, bro. It's just too pink. I'll also link D-brand skins down below. So if you do have one of these and you know, you're tired of the pinkish color, Dbrand's got you covered. So thank you guys for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time.